shipload of all but forgotten men come home to Spain, home after 13 years to anxious, excited relatives and friends who crowd a Barcelona pier. The scene is charged with emotion as the moment of reunion nears, but some cannot wait, scrambling aboard the ship any way they can. 250 Spanish legionnaires in all fall into the waiting arms of loved ones. The last survivors of 5,000 troops Franco sent to fight with Hitler's army on the Russian front. Captured, imprisoned in slave labor camps, they have returned from the living dead. With the seizure of narcotics worth hundreds of thousands of dollars and the arrest of 9 men in San Francisco, federal agents smash a giant international dope ring. Narcotics Chief Ernest Gentry examines an opium pipe confiscated with quantities of opium smuggled in from Mexico. The syndicate also handled heroin from Red China, picked up by merchant seamen in Hong Kong and carried inside hollowed-out books and magazines. Striking swiftly, the government cracks one of the biggest dope rings in San Francisco's history. At Yongjongmayon, north of Korea's 38th parallel, U.S. General Carter Magruder explains to the first Koreans to resettle the area how it will be divided into farms. 200 Korean farmers and their families who fled south during the war are building new homes to start again their peaceful way of life, which was uprooted by the horror of battle. Eventually, 20,000 Koreans will be settled on 14,000 acres in this area. On land once torn by shell fire, they will reap a new harvest from the good earth. An aerial Noah's Ark is made ready at Oakland, California for a flight to Korea, sponsored by church organizations in 2 states. 1.5 million honeybees, count them, are the first to fly to Korea on somebody else's wings. Because virtually all insect life has been destroyed in Korea, the bees are needed to pollinize the crops and supply needed honey. 100 dairy goats are also making the trip as part of a continuing goodwill plan by American church groups to help restock the basic economy of war-ravaged nations. Korea bound, an airline's dream. More than 2 million paid-up passengers with steward service for all, despite some crowding in the aisles. President Eisenhower arrives at the Post Office Department in Washington, where Postmaster General Summerfield presents to him an album of the first red, white, and blue Statue of Liberty stamp. Francis Cardinal Spellman is present with Dr. Roy Ross, National Council of Churches, Dr. Norman Salas, Synagogue Council of America, for the debut of the stamp, first to proclaim, "In God We Trust."
There's a new arrival at Woodland Breeding Farm near Red Bank, New Jersey, and Mother isn't letting her tiny daughter out of her sight. The little filly's name is Big Bertha, and you can see that she takes after Mom. Big Bertha weighs only 24 pounds against 75 for a normal foal. She stands only 2 feet high and sometimes has trouble standing at all. She's only a half-size colt now, but someday maybe Big Bertha will be just as big as Mom. When magicians meet, there's bound to be magic in the air. Once a month, West Berlin magicians gather at a restaurant for beer and, well, whatever happens to be in it. Time was when only pretzels went with beer. Magicians are the nervous type. They smoke a lot. It's sort of an occupational ailment. Grover's an old hand at making magic. As any good magician knows, he's only barking to show that he's still around. He doesn't mind this a bit, wherever he is. Some restaurants might take a dim view of funny business with the dishes, but in dealing with the sorcery set, nothing ever gets broken. It merely vanishes.
Wool I'll be. 1904 or 1954, wool is tops in fashion's Beach Brigade. Today's style spotlight is on the chic slim suits with a cover-up note. Topped with its own blazer, this one stars fashion-right stripes of white on blue. A skin snug jacket on hooks to reveal a strapless suit in zephyr weight jersey. Here's a salute to summertime, which features a decorative fringe along a perforated panel. Now down to the beach, and a sun goddess in a cane slim suit with peppermint stripes. Another beach-time beauty from the Wool Bureau. It's wool consistently in fashion's camera range this season. And small wonder, for what else could define the figure like this? In a season of shapeliness, it's wool for a fashion focus fact in 54.
More than 500,000 Londoners line the Thames as Oxford, nearest to camera, and Cambridge cross oars in England's biggest free sports spectacle. Though Oxford holds an early lead, the heavier Cambridge rowers are the favorites. But the smooth-stroking Oxford oarsmen are still out front at the halfway mark in the grueling 4.5-mile race. The Oxford 8, stroking with powerful precision, knifes along the sheltered inside lane. Out in midstream, Cambridge flounders in the choppy waters. The underdogs have opened a 4.5-length lead as the boats sprint for the finish line. The Cambridge crew makes a final desperate drive, but there's no overhauling the Oxford shell, which scoots across with open water to spare to capture